Another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob with my co-host, as always, Tina. How are you doing, Tina?
I'm good today, Rob. How are you?
I'm tired as fuck. This puppy's killing me slowly, and he's too fucking cute, so I can't even be mad at him.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's because I can't have any more kids. I cut that problem off. So we're gonna talk gay. I guess that's a good way of putting it. We're going to talk about. we're just messing around. We're going to talk about coming out and how hard it is, because I know we all have someone gay in our life at some point. Relatives, for me, one of my aunts when I was really young, and if you can believe this, 2 of her boys. So yeah, I think we all have something like that in our life. I'll let you do the intro because you do those so well.
Oh, thanks. So today we're going to have my cousin Shawn on, and Shawn came out years ago, and I watched his journey and his struggle, and we talked about things over the course of time, and I think that I think this would be a good person to have on today because he knows a lot about it and because he struggled and maybe he could shed some light. So thank you, Shawn, for being on our show.
Thank you, Tina. Hello, guys.
Hi, Shawn. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Fantastic. It is my honor to be here with my beautiful cousin and company.
Oh, I love him.
I would say it'd be nice to see you, but unfortunately, you're not on camera today, so. You're kind of lucky.
I mean, you're gonna have to take me on a date or something.
Yeah. As long as it's cheap, we're okay. Because
you don't know gay dates. We usually go Dutch. We pay half and half, or one of them takes care of it. You know.
I'm telling you though, we did a show on online dating. I don't know if you've heard it. There's 2 of them. The second one is really good, and you realize guys are dicks, like super duper horrible.
Oh yeah.
Horrible, because we had 2 girls on that gave their stories. It made me like almost uncomfortable as a guy. I was like, man. But I will tell you that some of the things that I've done, I can tell you that girls have offered to pay. It's weird,
gentlemen.
Yeah, very very bizarre.
I'm a waiter. I've seen all of those sweetheart guys come in there with their beautiful girls, and they treat them so well. And I'm like looking at the girls, like, run.
Yeah.
You know.
So this is
all right. So let's go with the story, because I think most listeners like to hear, like a real life story, not something that we have to carve out of you, and I don't want to throw a bazillion questions at you, because I just think that is not a more real, people don't want to hear that shit. They want to hear exactly, who you are, where you're at, how it all happened. Let's start for me, because since I can't see you, let's start with age.
Okay. So I am 32, born and raised in California in the Valley. Valley kid. I love it here. But I yearn to travel. My story kind of starts, it starts off in a magical forest. No, it starts off with me and my 3 older sisters, my mom and my grandma. My dad wasn't in the picture, and was, raised by a matriarchy and very powerful, strong women who I still look up to this day. We became very close because of our struggles. We were very poor. We didn't have much money for toys or anything besides necessities. Sometimes even school clothes and stuff was a struggle. So we were that was our beginning stages of life, and through that I was even battling what I was feeling, because I remember going to school and having my second grade teacher and Mr. Scaglione, like I looked at that guy and I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. That is a good looking man. This is confusing. And from that moment, I had the beginning of my battle. I remember having these weird, like tossing and turnings of feelings of back and forth throughout the years, from the age of like, it was second grade. So I was like 7 years old. From that till like, 12 or 13, where I realized, nope, I am gonna be straight. And, I see kids getting bullied left and right for being eccentric or different or whatever. I was funny. I was popular. I was cool. I was the cool kid. So I skated by easy. I just kept my head down and was part of the crowd basically. And then it came into high school where when you have sex with a girl, you're pretty freaking cool. You are the cool guy. You definitely want to be doing that. So that push comes to shove. You gotta sink or swim. And I swam in a vagina. It was terrible. It was an experience.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was just like an interesting experience. I just remember leaving that, and I felt really weird. I threw up because there was a lot going on in my head, and just remember feeling so like out of it after that experience that I was just like, oh shit, like, fuck, this is weird. Like maybe you really are gay. You just threw up after having sex with a girl, So that was another big hit for me. So when that all happened, I realized that, alcohol was a great way to escape my brain and all the thoughts that I was having about different classmates and people and stuff, So I started drinking heavily, and that was in high school. I was 15 when I started like really drinking, and then I would say I stopped for a good 3 years and picked up my habit again when I was like 20. And that was the whole, that's the whole phase, but I'm sorry. I digressed. My coming out experience though was when I was 17 years old, excuse me. My sister is in the car with me, and she says, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like, all the fears are going through my head. Like, oh shit. Like she knows I'm gay. Here I go. I got to explain this. And I full up and tell her, I said, hey, okay, I'm gay. I get it. She's like, no. There's a different elephant in the room that we need to talk about. And it was my partying. It was my partying. So everybody knew I was gay. My family, they all knew I was gay. That was a super breeze. That was a breeze. It was no big deal. My friends, on the other hand, was not the same. It was, I thought that since my family took it so well, I could go to my people and be as happy as my family was and sharing that love with them. And it didn't really turn out the same. People had mixed feelings. I ended up getting in a lot of fights because of it. Got jumped a lot. I remember people calling me just to say, hey, I'm going to come kick your ass. And I'm like, well, you know where I live. Come over, and just having to deal with that on a daily, like just scared and always watching your back. That was a good 2 years of my life, which didn't really help. So I stumbled more into drinking. I drank for 10 years because of that. I think all of it, all of that whole like turmoil and stuff that is put on you at a young age, all that stress and everything. And it just can be a lot. It really can.
I remember when you were younger and you were just starting to tell the family. And I remember you being really uncomfortable. I mean, I remember like you were unsure of yourself. You didn't know how to tell anybody. You knew who you could kind of tell or who was going to support you. But do you remember that part of?
Yeah, no, I definitely remember that. I knew I could go to like you. I knew that the Kelly and Nicole would be obviously okay to go to, but there's still grandma and grandpa and judgment from uncles and, certain aunts that you don't know how they're going to look at you anymore. Like you don't know how, like all of those years of having love from that person, you now are fearful of that all being taken away because of you living your truth. And it's like you battle that truth for so long that like at one day you're at the point where you're you're gonna fucking pop. So it's like, am I gonna lose all these people for my truth, or am I gonna keep hiding who I am and fucking go into oblivion? Because that's where I was headed. And no, you have to you gotta live your truths, because at the end of the day, man, like, it will eat you alive.
Yeah.
And coming out. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. What was your question?
Go ahead. So you already knew who the problems were going to be with telling all of us, or? Well,
no, I just, you have feelings about certain people. You have your reservations, and you kind of know that there's going to be judgment passed at you, and you're already aware of it. You know that, you know that feeling, because like me being a popular kid or whatever, I was a part of it all. I saw what happened to the people that weren't accepted. I saw what people would do to them. I was never like that. I was an advocate for standing up for people that would be picked on and stuff like that. But you're around it. You can't control the world, So it's like, there's a lot that comes down with that whole situation. You really got to boil down what's important to you. And sometimes that means losing family and friends. And that's the unfortunate circumstance about it. And that's, we were talking about this earlier, and you had mentioned like when I made the decision or whatever. And it's like, it's something that I kind of want to like flip on you. It's like, think about this, like for real. When did you consciously like say to yourself, I'm going to be straight? And it's not like I wake up every day and I say that I'm straight. No, it's like, when did you make the conscious decision that you said to yourself, like, I'm going to like women, and that's the route that I'm choosing and I'm going to take? Because I never just like everything. Exactly. I never made that conscious decision of, well, this is my route. This is it. It's like, no, it's just the feeling. I can't fight it even if I tried.
Well, that's when you make the conscious decision. When you have that feeling,
that
whenever
song,
that is,
and I can't fight this feeling anymore.
Sure.
Yeah. It's sometimes you don't make a decision. You just go with your feelings.
No, but that is what I'm saying, is that is the decision.
I get it. I get it.
However you want to weigh it or not, it's with any decision. It's whenever you finally have that moment, that's when you make a decision of whatever it is. Whenever you saw, whenever a young man sees bra and panties on TV and he has that, that's the moment, like, oh, that's what it is. And I think that's with everyone. There's a moment with whatever you're doing when you make a conscious decision. Maybe that's not a conscious decision. That's just your mind making it up for you.
That would be subconscious. Yeah, essentially. So it's not like you sat down with pen and paper and you thought, this is how my life's going to go. This is my route. Because if I would have been able to do that, trust me, I would have picked vagina. I would have picked the straight route. I would have picked the house and kids. I would have picked all of that glitz and glam, because they're like, with that style of thinking, though, that is a conscious choice, it forces people into the idea of, they are making the wrong choice, or they could have made a different choice. Well, so when I say that it's subconsciously chosen, it's like you don't have a choice, because if I were to tell you to choose to be gay right now, you couldn't do it, and you couldn't enjoy yourself. Yeah, exactly. You couldn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't enjoy yourself.
Right. Well, I wouldn't want that just because societally I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, I talked to somebody about that when they were like, oh, about your kid being gay. I would never want my kid to be gay, ever.
Yeah, I understand, because of what they have to go through.
Yeah, and I think that's with lots of different things, like going down those roads. But, it's kind of like, because I have a friend who I got in a huge argument about aborting a child who is in the womb that has a problem that they know before they come out, like Down syndrome, some kind of thing. And she was like, and she ended up having a child who has a leg disability. Everything else is normal, but she has this problem. And she's like, what would you have done? And I said, I would have aborted, because I know that I wouldn't want to put a child through that, painstakingly and myself, I know I couldn't handle it. And those are decisions that,
that's a very tough decision. That's a very, very tough decision. But at the same time, it's like, those are choices. Those are choices that you are consciously making, that you are making with, thought process involved, that you are sitting down thinking about, I can't do this. I can't. No, there was no thought process of that for you for being a heterosexual. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, it's like, that's just what I was saying with that one. It's like, it's very,
I agree.
Yeah. It's
my argument with was if you would want your child to do that.
Yeah, if I wouldn't want my child to be gay based on society standards. However, we as adults can be the change. We can be the change in society's viewpoint, because what people view as wrong is just a lack of education or a lack of experience with that subject. Because you could say that that's wrong left and right until you take a second to spend, a day at DragCon, see the people. Literally see people,
right? But you're still talking about people's view. You can't change people's views. If you believe a certain way, regardless of if you dragged them through DragCon, they're still going to believe the same thing.
No,
I understand that, but not the other way.
Yeah, but throughout time and throughout history, views change, because in ancient Greece, homosexuality was very, very open. Spartan warriors had sex with each other for battle. Literally, It was like, that's why they fought so hard for their loved ones, because they would mate with each other as well. So it's like, if we're going to go flip everything 180, it's like, let's do it again. Because if we're sitting here in a casual conversation where we can be two valid points and you can understand my point and I can understand yours, there's nothing wrong with us then. I'm a gay man, though.
Correct.
What's wrong with me now, society? Like, what's wrong with me now?
Well, hundreds and hundreds of years.
I get it. That's what I'm saying. We got to be the change.
Yeah, but again, I think you have to look at the reality of that. The reality of that is thousands of years, and it still hasn't changed. And again, I don't want to get too off subject with that of throwing, again, like I said before, we're going to throw each other's views at each other no matter what we do. And like I said, I have relatives that are gay and I have friends that are gay. I just kind of look at things from a very black and white situation and a very small thing of gray, and it's in everything. So it's not just this. Like, I see society for what it is, and you're talking about percentages, very small percentages.
No, yeah.
So for me, I've always had a problem with why everybody has a problem with what people are doing in their bedrooms with their mates. Like, for me, when the first cousin of mine came out, he came out to me years ago. I must have been about 18 years old. And he was like, I'm always going to love you. And please don't ever think that I won't love you, even if you don't agree with what I'm going to tell you. And I looked at him and I'm like, did you kill somebody? Like, what the hell did you do? And he told me he was gay. And I was like, okay, but what did you do? And he said, again, I'm gay. And I'm like, well, I knew that before I knew what sex was. When it came to you, you were always different. But why do I care what you're doing with your mate? Like, I don't have to wear scarlet letters saying I'm into bondage with whomever I'm with. Not that I was. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not going that far with anything. But I mean, at the same time, who needs to know that? Who needs to be a part of it? It should only be the people that are in your bedroom, right? Not.
And society.
So for me, for society to have an opinion about it, then I should be able to have opinion about what they're doing or not doing in their bedrooms. I think it should just be across the board.
Yes, but I think the thing that you're talking about, you're not walking down the street with a leather mask on, so you're not really bringing it down the street. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate. That's apples and oranges.
Just from what I've seen across with the internet and with the younger generations and everything coming through, like, the idea of being resistant to acceptance is like, it's going to be a thing of the past. Like, there is always going to be a prejudice. There is always going to be some form of racism, some form of homophobia. There's always going to be that. But as a norm, societal norm, it should be acceptance all around, or mind your own fucking business. That's really what it's all about.
That's
like,
where I'm at.
Like, if you don't accept it, then leave it alone. You don't need to protest about it. You don't need to freaking write a whole letter about it. Leave it alone. Because I don't give a shit that you call the cops on people that upset you, down the street from your house all the time, whatever, it means nothing to me. Your day means nothing to me. So why should mine mean something to you?
I think in the normal of what you're saying is totally correct. Most people, I think, want to be just left the fuck alone in general. And I think that that's every single person. Unfortunately, we live in a world of media that push narratives, and that's both sides. And I'm not talking, you pick your narrative. We can talk Buffalo and gun laws right now if you want to. I'm a huge supporter of guns, and that's all you're going to hear right now is take guns away from people instead of arm more people so they can fight back instead of turtling on the ground and getting shot. Because that's what people did, unfortunately. So I think that there's narratives like that. It's like the don't say gay bill that isn't really what it says. And you're going to find both sides of that argument. In my case, I do agree with that.
But we're getting off on a political crap when
you mean we're going somewhere else with it, not getting off.
Yeah, let's dial it back, only because I want this to be more of a story. I want this to be more like, so that people could understand better what an actual human being goes through, regardless of what they do with their partner. Like, it should just, you know what I mean? It's like,
well, I mean, like I when we were chit-chatting a little bit earlier before the podcast, we were talking about just the experiences that, gay kids don't get to experience because of society, like prom, like holding a person's hand that they have a crush on, like giving a little innocent peck on the cheek to somebody that they have a crush on in 6th grade that is feeling mutual. You know what I mean? You know the feelings. Everyone feels it, and it's cosmically known at all ages. Those are things that were taken away from just being who you are, and it's things that I've seen gay people on the internet and TV shows and stuff talking about their gay experiences and how they wish that they had a prom or yada yada yada, and it's stuff like that where you have to take what was taken from you and rebuild from what remains. Like, that's literally it. Shine brighter, be stronger. There is no taking things back from your past. It's just learning from it and moving forward. That's really all it is with the whole experience. Is like, I look back at everything and I'm like, what did I learn there? What did I learn from that? What did I learn from that? You got to piece it together and make sense of it all.
So what exactly made you turn to drinking then?
The numbing of everything, my thoughts, I really enjoyed it. I found drinking, and then my friends introduced me to some drugs, and that started everything from cocaine to, MDMA and hallucinogenics and all that stuff. So like I experienced it all in a very short period of time. I had a couple close calls where I potentially could have been in life-threatening situations, and my family doesn't know about that, and I haven't really shared that with anybody, but it's okay because I'm an adult and now's the time if they want to ask, they can talk to me about it. But yeah, no, like a lot of that stuff that I went through, I think it was just me trying to figure out who the fuck I was, and I didn't go about it the correct way. I'm just now celebrating 2 years sober. So that alone, the May 11th was my date. That alone right there, just like my growth in that, I'm getting to know myself for the first time, I feel like, in my life. So I'm still getting to know myself from my childhood and my 20s. So it's interesting to go through that now. I've never dated anybody sober. So that's going to be an interesting thing to experience.
Ever?
Wow.
That's
I've never even been on a date sober. I've never had like a date with anybody sober. I was in years of relationships, never sober. Yeah. Wow. So this is
I mean, not to get too off topic, but how did you function? I know that that's coming from somebody who like, I've never done any drugs.
Oh yeah.
But I've lost people. I've lost several friends to overdoses. So
to be completely honest with you, I don't know how I was functioning. I was drinking probably about like 30 beers a day, roughly.
So were you drinking on the job?
Oh yeah. I was drinking on the job. Yeah, no, it was a consistent flow.
So did you find yourself to be a functioning?
Oh yeah, I was a fully functioning alcoholic. You know, I never missed a day of work. You know, I was pretty spot on with my shit. I was a great waiter. You wouldn't know that I was fucked up, but I was getting fucked up every day. And I lived that life for a good 10 years. And it got to a point where I was throwing up blood, and I was like, maybe I should probably chill out and get my shit together.
So do you think it was multiple things in your life? I mean, obviously coming out or living what you were, it had to be more than just that. I mean,
it was.
And again, I'm asking, I guess.
It was that. It was, living without a father.
That's where I was going to kind of go with it.
Yeah, there was no like father male influence in my life, really. I clung dearly to my uncles and any other male figure that I could find. That masculine energy I just like clung on to for life. There's a lot of underlining factors, like growing up poor, not having the easiest life. There's a lot of things that I went through at a young age and traumas that I don't even know that I went through, that, like as an adult being sober now for the first time in his life, I'm getting to dive into this. I'm getting to learn who Shawn is. I'm getting to figure out who I am. And like, I'm not trying to say that this is all because of my coming out experience or whatever, but like, let's just say for 1 second, could you think that like, if I was a straight kid with like a little bit better off pay, my parents, and they were together, my whole life could have been completely different.
Oh,
would
for
I have
sure.
been an addict? Would I have done that? Like I always think about like those what ifs, like,
and I think that there's many things that's very multifaceted. What you just said, you could have had a father in your life, and you would have came out and it'd been worse.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know what I mean? So my
family could have been freaking destroyed or something.
Yeah, we did a show on fathers not being in someone's life, and it'll take your breath away how bad things are. I'm going to ask you something too, kind of like, because obviously you were wearing a mask in front of people that obviously many people already knew. Do you think that the being overly popular, do you think that was just another mask you wore to try to? Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I had to, I was funny. So my funny diverted, it's like the funny fat kid. I was the funny fat kid for a little while, and then I got my growth spurt, and then I was the funny handsome guy, and girls were like, please have sex with me. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. I don't know. You sure?
Right. It's the comedian thing. That's what you hear from a lot of comedians too. It's like the reason that they decided to be funny is that they were wearing a mask for something else.
Yeah, I wanted to be a comedian for a good while. Like I had a lot of stuff written down in materials, and then I decided to instead of like put the mask on and like hide my pain, I decided to go the other route, and I go into meditation, and I'm healing my pain, and I'm going inward, and I'm healing myself, and I'm just going completely 180 on that. I'm not hiding my pain. I'm healing it. I'm focusing on myself.
Do you think coming out and finally finding a level of sobriety is pushing, I don't know how I should say this. Do they push each other forward? Like,
I would
you're accepting yourself a lot more now that you're sober.
Well, I'm clear-headed of it. No, I accepted myself when I was drinking as well.
I guess I didn't mean it that way. Like that you find yourself.
Let me tell you my experience with just the sobriety and me accepting myself. I will say that the fact that I do accept myself 100% and I do love myself fully, plus being sober is a big enhancement in my life. Like I'm really, really positive most of my days. Like my coworkers, they see me and they're miserable. They're all servers just like me. And they're like, why are you so positive all the time? And I'm like, well, because life's too short and I've lived a shitty good chunk of it. And I'm ready to start like living life and laughing and being positive and not giving a shit about people's opinions, just being myself.
Do you find it? I mean, let's say you're saying that you've really never been sober in a relationship. How would you find dating now? It's got to be difficult because the first thing that we all say is like, hey, do you want to get a drink with each other? I think that's, and again, I think coffee dates are the thing now anyway, like at least from what I understand through these things, like that's the bigger thing. So I guess it's great for all of us that are single. It sounds like that thankfully hand in hand, because again, I've lost several people to drug use that quickly. Matter of fact, I had a friend who flatlined, had the EKG on his wall and still didn't learn from it and died. Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that you found, because, we talked off air before that the suicide rate is very high in that community. Like,
oh yeah.
Insanely high, scary high, actually. And again, not that it's not in straight communities. Suicide rate it is
males
scarily high anyway.
Just males a lot.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think even in the normal community, if you want to put your quotes in, it's still like 9 or 10%. It's super high. And I think, like I said,
it's too much. That's too much for anybody.
It's too much. So I think mental health, whatever you're battling, needs to be looked upon.
For the first time in my life, like I'm focusing on myself. When it comes to dating, in my sober life, I don't go to bars. So if anybody would ask me, if I were to go out to a drink, my question would be like, well, do you want to get coffee, or like you said, something like that. If I find out that their life revolves around drinking, then that's not necessarily somebody that I would want in my life anyways.
Exactly. So, and I think that's easier to find now anyway.
Yeah. It's all about finding your healthy balance, what's good for you, and that's just me putting things in perspective.
So is your father totally out of your life? Has like never been in your life?
He's never been in my life. No. Okay. I reached out when I was 25 years old. I was like, you know what? I'm not living life with regrets. I don't know what this man's like. I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to find a way to reach out to him. So I called his dad, my grandfather, and I asked, I was just shooting the shit with him. And then I was like, hey, I need to talk to my dad. And he was like, well, I don't have his number, blah, 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 which is always the shit he's given me. And I was like, I was like, all right, that's fine. Grandpa, can you cut the shit? I need to speak to my father. I'm 25 years old. I need to talk to my dad. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. Hold on. So he goes and gets the number, call my dad up, and he answers the phone and he says, hello. I'm like, is this Stephen Jones? And he goes, yeah, who's this? I said, this is Shawn Jones, your son. And I'm pretty sure I heard him shit his pants through the phone. Like I heard the shit just hit the floor.
I'm sure.
No. He was actually, he was pretty elated. We talked for a good 2 hours, and it was the first time in my life that I got to say, I love you, Dad. And that was a very powerful thing for me. I got what I got from that experience because I knew that I was going in there for me. It was an experience that I needed to have for myself, that I did not get when I was a kid, that I did not get for years. So I met him. I did that. We stayed in contact for a little while, but then we kind of fell off. He was going through it and he was asking me for favors. And I was like, I can't do it. I just can't I can't do that. And he most recently passed. And when I was at work when I found out that he passed away, and my sister was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I told her, I was like, I kind of feel like a superhero died, or like a movie character, because I have emotions for this person, but I don't know him and I've never met him, but there's an emotion there. There's right. something there for years there. And like, my buddy, one of my best friends since junior high school, he went through the same exact situation with his father, and his father passed away before mine did. So I called him immediately and was like, "What's going on, Cameron? And like, I need to talk to you." And he basically was just like, he wasn't really there. And now that he's gone, we're just kind of left to deal with the shit that remains, like the resin of whatever he left us, So it was an experience. But I'm glad that I met my dad when I was 25 years old. I'm glad that I went out there and I went to Vegas, and I'm glad that I did that for myself, because I'm not living with regrets, and that would be something that I would regret.
Sure. And were you sober at the time?
I was not.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I was not sober at the time.
I think it is good that you got to sew something up. And I think that those are super important things to do. Whether it worked out or not, you got to walk away from it saying that you got to talk to him and meet him, which is,
exactly. Like us as humans, we always grasp for control and power. So at least in this situation, I could say that I had the power and the control, and I made that happen, and I saw my father, and I got to do what I needed to do there. Like I don't live with regrets on that one, but it does pain me though, because everybody that knew my dad tell me how much I'm like my dad, and tell me how much like I light up a room like he did, and tell me how much like, or do you know that your dad saved my life, or do you know that this or that? And I'm like, yeah, I don't judge the man. He wasn't a father. It didn't work out for him at that time. It wasn't his gig. I don't hold any ill will towards the man, but like it's just something that you got to go through. It's crazy.
Not all people are good and not all people are bad. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a mixture of both. And I think I personally knew your dad, and I felt like he had both in him. He had the good and the bad, but I think his bad was more focused towards himself. It had nothing to do with you guys.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't focused towards us. He was never aggressive. He wasn't a violent person. Mm-mm. It was just, he hated himself.
Was he an addict?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was all the whole kit and caboodle, But when I saw him, he was sober. So, that's good.
It probably had to be sobering for him. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, again, I am a father, so there's something to that. Like, I have problems with deadbeat dads. I'm like really crazy because when I got divorced, I took my kid. I've never not had my son, and he'll be 20 in December. Yep. So it means a lot to me. I'm glad that you saw him, only because for me to hear you say that, you closed a door, whether it was good or bad. Mm-hmm. And for you, I think that's going to move your sobriety and your look. You closed the door that you knew was whatever was behind it was behind it. You saw it, close the door. It's unfortunate he passed away. I think that's there's some things to obviously it's fate we can't change, but I think that to me that sounds like such a good moment for you.
Yeah, no, it was, man. It was honestly it was a good moment for me, and I am very glad that I got to do it. Like when I was doing it, I sent a message out to my three sisters. All of them have a different experience with this man. So I sent a message out to them, letting them know that this is what I was doing. They were more than able to come with me if they felt comfortable enough. None of them wanted to. And I was just like, okay, I don't want to live with regrets, like this is me. So I, went alone. I did it my own way. And my youngest sister, who's 5 years older than me, they're all older than me. But when I say my youngest, she's the youngest of the three older. She ended up going down. I came back and told her about it. She ended up driving down herself, and she had her own experience. So,
good.
Like I sparked a little bit in somebody else. So it's But
I mean,
all of those factors, though, could contribute to my alcoholism,
I mean, well, yes. I mean, it sounds still like a harrowing thing that happened to you. Again, it doesn't sound like you ever put him on a pedestal, which is as a whole other good thing for you. I think that what you did is what you did. So, you talked about, like, obviously high school was just a shitty experience for you.
It was great until I came out. It was the end of high school that was shitty.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what I was meaning.
Yeah.
So 23, you meet your dad. I'm assuming that you told your dad you were gay.
Yep. Because I didn't. You don't know who I am. I'm going to tell you everything that I am, and you better fucking accept me.
Plus, you were out by then too.
Yeah. I mean, that was my assumption anyway. Because yes, well, I think it's your mentality now. By talking with you. So that's 23. So
25.
That's 25. Oh, okay. So that's only 7 years ago. Sorry, LA Unified.
Yeah, same. I was still counting.
Yeah, exactly. I count on my fingers all the time. And then I went to school with Tina, so that's how we know each other. Did he go to the same school as us, Tina?
Mm-hmm, he did.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Oh, Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So okay. So so let's say from dad going forward, right? So the last 7 years. Tell me your journey in the last 7 years of pretty much. I mean, we know you're sober, which is great. At least in the last 2. Yeah. But what about your experiences with society and how you're feeling going forward? Because obviously you said you really haven't dated outside being under the influence of something. So where do you see, like, what's happened in the last 7 years and where you see yourself kind of going forward from here?
Geez, man, the last 7 years was a whirlwind. 5 of those was inebriated and getting to the worst points of it. So I'm glad that I got rid of that habit. I was in a relationship with somebody that I knew I was going to lose them if I did not kick the habit. And I already wanted to be sober. I've been fighting it for years. And I looked at the person and I said, give me 3 days and I will be off of alcohol. And within 3 days, I was off alcohol. And that was May 11th, 2 years ago. So that was 5 years of chaos. I'm coming into my sobriety now. And man, I just am ready to grow. I'm excited about my future. I recently got a new job. I got my license. I'm insured. Yeah, all of that had to happen because I just spent years. I didn't get my license because I knew that I would be too drunk and I would get a DUI and I would crash and hurt myself or somebody. So I literally just Ubered. I knew myself better than to just be drunk and driving. Which
so
is,
you
I guess,
just got your license?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah, 30 years old. I was 31 when I got it.
Wow, that's interesting. For a Californian, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I lived my
especially here.
I lived my life with Ubers and people, homies.
Yeah,
friends rides.
This is how I was though. I was a functioning alcoholic. I made great money, so I could fund the evening. You just got to pick me up. That's how it was, and people are very okay with that. So, I had a lot of friends. They're not my friends very much anymore, but
you've always had a lot of people around you because of your charisma and the way you were and the personality that you had. You've always attracted people to you. So even though it's not the same people, you've always had people around you.
I mean, I still have my people. I'm ready to go traveling though. I'm gonna go to Australia. I'm gonna go to Spain. I'm gonna go to Italy. I'm gonna go everywhere, man. I'm gonna get up out of here.
Australia kind of scares me. Spain's awesome. My daughter went there, and Italy.
Australia scares you because of the bugs?
No, Australia scares me because they're insanely crazy right now and want to lock everybody up.
Oh yeah.
The COVID camps kind of scare me. The fucking spiders there are gnarly.
Yeah, no, my buddy, he told me,
and they're
you
big.
Can't. Yeah, you literally before you get in bed, you check your pillowcases, and your sheets, because they'll
the
crawl
same
in
with
there.
your cars, where you open the doors because they get underneath there and they stay.
I said visit.
Yeah, you'll absolutely love Spain.
Oh yeah, Spain.
My daughter loved it in Spain. Super. She lived in Germany, so she traveled to France and Spain.
That's actually one of my destinations. I wanna potentially live in Germany.
She actually liked it. She was in the military, so she lived off base, but in a town. She absolutely loved it. I would say I haven't traveled, but she dug it. So
my sister's one of her best friends lives in Munich, and it is absolutely gorgeous. She shows me pictures all the time, and I'm like, God, I just want to go. I'm going to go visit. I'm going to just go travel the world. That's how I feel now. Being sober, being out of this whole experience, being 32 years old. Like, I wish I had this mentality, this freshness at the age of 18 when I should have had it. I
think you needed to experience some things, and you needed to get some monsters off your shoulders before you could do that. Yeah, but at least you're learning it at 30 instead of 50.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Yeah, it's true. Because I'll tell you, like, I think most people at 18 aren't living that anyway.
Oh no,
that's
trying to figure out what the hell they're doing with themselves.
As it left my mouth, I was like, you didn't know your ass from your face at 18.
Nobody does, though. Nobody.
I didn't know it at fucking 30. I got married at 30. I mean, I had a kid at 31. I was fucking lost, dude. I was scared, lost. And
I bet you I'm still lost, knowing that I know everything right now.
Oh, dude, if it makes you feel any better, dude, you'll never know. You'll always be lost. There's pieces of. Do you have any tattoos?
Oh yeah, I got a few. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, several. Go. See, that's a good start. I'm trying to get Tina to do it. See, I have tons.
Oh yeah, no, I saw. I
have plenty.
I want to get more. I definitely want to get more, but I ended up getting it. Every single one of them has meant something to me, and one of them I kind of want to get covered up or redone. Just redone.
I covered my first one. My right arm is all Viking because my son is named after a Viking god.
Oh, Odin.
And yes, there you go. And then my other arm is all kind of skulls and flowers because I think death is chasing us, and it has a clock on it. So do shit before you die. I got all my tattoos in my 40s.
In your 40s?
So,
dang.
Yeah, my late 40s.
Mine's been sporadic.
Well, with the exception of one. My first one I got when I was like 31, but everything else I got all in my 40s, all within 3 years. So I have 2 full sleeves and chest pieces.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to do it with an artist and like take my time, get to know them, and be like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I love that.
You guys have a good time with that.
Come on, Tina, you can do it with us.
I just think it's a thing where you kind of you find. It's not that I found myself. I'm glad I didn't do it when I was young because I would have the most evil demonic shit on me if I did it when I was in my 20s. Like I would have evil shit on me. So I'm kind of glad I waited and again, you'll see. I mean, you're young, dude. You have many, many years, but yeah, I think you have the mentality that you're talking about that, like, you do only live once. And, like I said, I've had many friends pass away way, way too young. So
me too already. And it's unfortunate,
it's crazy, dude. I had a friend die at 40 at a funeral. He had a heart attack at a funeral.
Jesus.
2 really close friends overdose. A friend of mine died at 50 of a heart attack. So like young. So, and some of them lived, some of them let work live for them, and they worked until they died, and it sucked. So I kind of see where you're coming from.
If you don't live the life that you have today when you're actually having it, you don't know what you're going to miss out on.
Exactly.
That's it. You have to be happy. You have to live. You have to make the most of every shitty situation that comes your way, and hopefully learn from it so you don't have to go through it again. And that's just a smart way of living.
That's what I was telling Tina the other day. We were on the phone. I was like, I tell the girls that at my work, the hosts, they're young girls. I tell them, like, out of all my 32 years of being on this planet, for the first time in my life, I am just strictly focused on myself. And it has been the best thing that I've ever done for myself, like ever. And I'm like, I told them all that. I was like, you guys just focus on yourself. You guys are 20 or 18, whatever. Don't just grow right now. Worry about your careers, worry about your life, do all that stuff. It's better to do it now than to do it when you're older. Get yourself situated.
Yeah. Trust me.
And it's easier to love somebody that's loving themselves. So if they're doing for themselves, whatever they're looking for, they'll find, because they're getting it from within.
Exactly. Like when you're living that happy life, people are looking at you like, what do they have? I want some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get some of that. A sip of that.
What's here's the question of your day for you then. What would you say to anyone right now that's struggling with what you went through? And I mean, coming out. Obviously, alcoholism's a whole other AA meeting that we need to talk about. Coming out is shit. Because obviously,
the thing that I would say to anyone that's going through the coming out experience, that know that it does get better, that you need to push through this time. Like if I were to think about my disparity and my heartache that I would have felt in the past, and if I were to feel that now, it's horrible. That passes. It does get better. Be brighter, be better than everybody else. That's all I say.
And I think that as a family, I think that people just need to remember that no matter what that person's doing, they're still a part of that family, and they still need every single player on their team. You have to be there for your family regardless of what they're doing with their own life and the decisions that they're making. So
that's right.
As a family, there needs to be some support and accountability.
Right? It can't be one thing that happens that changes everything, the discourse of your entire relationship with people.
Well, yeah,
exactly. Especially something that doesn't involve the person that knows about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's I think at the end of the day, there's a difference between loving someone and not agreeing with whatever they're into. Because we can talk about political parties these days break up families.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with a lot of my friends, but they're still my friends because I can look past those things. So I think that mostly from a family standpoint, it's like, it's your kid, it's your friend, it's this, at the end of the day, whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, you have to at least look at the reality of what love is.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be there to support them, either way.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
and look at your own life instead and look at your own life and say, oh, well, what am I not doing right? If you have a problem with what somebody else is doing, you should be looking at yourself. Because there's a lot that you should be working on instead of worrying about everybody else's crap.
It's funny that you say that. I've noticed that with myself. Like when I get upset with somebody, I sit and I look at what I have in common with that person and what they're doing that is something that I do that I get upset about. I find that similarity, and then I stop getting that upset with people.
That's normally part of the reason that we don't like a person is because it's something about ourselves we're not digging.
Yep. It's like something that you don't like about yourself that you're seeing in that person. It's like, when in all reality, you're like, we're good. Everything's fine. You got to be looking like that.
Right. And on that note, do you have anything else you want to say? Because we're getting to the end of our episode. Do you have any?
This is where you say the final words.
The final words.
My final words would be like, if I could give like any takeaway from my experiences, getting to know myself and like meditating has probably been the most amazing thing that I've done. Like just getting that time to myself, just peace and quiet, where I can sit and think about all of the things that I need to focus on for me to better myself. Just getting in that kind of headspace has helped me more than any program or, quick fix that I've looked up online or medication that I was on for years. Meditation's beaten all of that. So that's my only takeaway from my experience. I recommend you guys give it a little whirl.
Yeah, I think with my puppy, I'm going to need to.
Dogs love it too. You get yourself in a little 10-minute meditation. My dog always comes up here and lays with me.
He's 13 weeks, dude. This guy, he meditates for about 3 seconds.
Little bursts.
I throw a chew toy at him. Sometimes he'll give me a small break. But yes, I hear meditation is an amazing thing. So that's fantastic. I have some other friends that are like, you just need to shut the fuck up for a few minutes and sit in your room and just relax.
Man, like, I am telling you, there is nothing like shutting the fuck up for 10, 15 minutes with some cool music on and just sitting there. It's great.
I think that you probably, same with Tina and me, we deal with the public. So when there's any kind of silence, like when I kind of walk in my bedroom at the end of the night, and I'm probably not meditating, but I'm definitely in a state of mind where I'm just like trying not to hear anything.
But the humming sound that's ringing in your ears, just that.
Yeah.
Sir, I work at a yard house. I work at a yard house. So I serve the nicest, most pleasant customers until 1 a.m. Yeah. It's great.
That was well done. Well played. Yeah. But also the noise. I'm sure, like I work in a place that has music and it's somewhat loud because there's pallets and shit moving all over. You work in a place that is constant noise.
Jamming,
it's
dude.
Always jamming, always talking, always something going on. I think that's for the best of just your employment. Meditation is probably great.
You know what? I should start a class there.
Yeah.
Like, listen, guys, for our health, we're going to get some meditation classes going.
Everyone go to the park and just listen to the wind blow through.
Yeah, that would be if we could get a day off, man. We're trying to hire new people right now. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no one wants to work, my friend. Tina, give them all the fun stuff.
Okay. Before I go, I would just like to say, Shawn, thank you so much for being on. I know I just threw this at you yesterday, and I love you to pieces. You've always been one of my favorites, and whatever you doing, know that you've always got me backing you, and I'll sit there and laugh too when we need to. So
I love you.
I love you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course.
And with that, we've been on the show about 6 months now, from what I'm thinking, from when we started. And shit. I believe we have. And we are now in 20 countries and 38 states. Woo. So please, all of you, keep subscribing, following, get to us on Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you have any show ideas, if you have anything you'd like to say, if you don't agree with us, if you do agree with us, reach out and let us know. You can reach us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Outcast, Audibles, anywhere where you get your podcast. But please continue to share, listen, follow, subscribe. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yay. We have 1,900 downloads now.
Nice.
Pretty interesting. Wide range of fun topics. Shawn, thanks for coming on. As always, you're welcome back at any time. We just want to discuss any other crazy shit because
it was a pleasure.
Have something to talk about. And this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Keep coming back. Listen up and have fun. We're here every Wednesday, so check us out, and we will see you in a week. Thank you, Shawn. And for my co-host, as always, Tina, you guys have a great night.
Good night.